Rails or Ruby on Rails is truly one of those fascinating pieces of software. And I'm not just talking about the software itself, but really about the community all around Ruby on Rails. The developers who use Rails are extremely proud and happy to be using this framework, although it is based on a pretty weird language, if you would ask me, which is Ruby. Now, each programming language looks a bit different, but certainly is not one of the common ones. Especially when it comes to the syntax, it does look a little bit weird. And this begs the question, why do we have Ruby on Rails? And why do we also have another great framework, which is Laravel, which is a PHP framework? And this is like a full stack framework. You can just have one code base and you have your backend, your front end, everything under one hood. It also offers you like so many different things, like a lot of adapters, a lot of libraries that you can just plug in into your application. And the most prominent thing about these libraries or these frameworks is that they go with a strong convention. So each library comes with a strong convention, how your code base is structured, which architecture you have in your code base, how do you organize your files, how do you define a database schema, etc. So if you take a look at the example, you're going to see that it's always the same thing. And this obviously also allowed Ruby to rebrand a little bit, accelerate your agents with convention over configuration. So the question that I have in mind right now is, why don't we have the same thing in JavaScript? Like, JavaScript is one of the most famous languages out there, and you have to use JavaScript, at least in your front end. So why don't we have that? But first, a quick word from today's sponsor, which is Scrimba. Scrimba is the first code learning platform that I am promoting on my channel, and that's for a good reason. Unlike other code learning platforms, Scrimba comes with an embedded code editor where you can see changes happening live and you're not just stuck with a video. They have a really interesting course called the Full Stack Developer Path that takes you from a complete noob to building full stack applications. And while Scrimba supports captions in multiple languages, what makes this course so special are the instructors. We're talking about seasoned developers, including the famous CSS god Kevin Powell. So go check them out and make sure to use my link to save 20% off for life. The link will be down in the description. Now back to the video. So why don't we have that? Because JavaScript is not only very common, it also opens the door to, for example, when you have a full stack framework, to just import functions from the backend to the front end. You don't have to switch back and forth between languages. And I think I have a theory, because there is actually a full stack framework that tries, or at least I have never used this library before. It's called Adonis. Let me zoom in a little bit. And this one is also the same thing. So the batteries include a TypeScript framework, everything you need in one framework: authentication, ORM, validation, mail, blah, 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 blah. So I think that there are two main things that are missing in other frameworks that Ruby on Rails does extremely well. First of all, there is one central figure in Ruby, and that is the creator, which is DHH. DHH is very famous, also very successful. They have a lot of products that are built with Ruby, which helps a lot when you're trying to choose a framework, to just take a look at the companies that were created with a framework. And here we have Basecamp, Hey, but especially GitHub and Shopify, Airbnb. So a lot of big players over here. And I think a programming framework doesn't just get popular on its own. There has to be someone behind it, someone with that energy, someone who cares about it, to actually share all about the features of that framework. And that is definitely the case over here with Rails. And the second thing that we are missing in the JavaScript ecosystem is this whole idea of convention over configuration. In JavaScript world, everything is configurable. Even the most famous front-end library is React, which doesn't have all that many features built in, right? It doesn't even have routing built in. Like if you even compare it to Angular, Angular has routing built in. It has so many conventions. When it comes to React, you have to install so many third-party libraries to just have a normal working library. And I think in the age of AI, this is starting to change, because people are actually also often asking me, do you know any skills or AI skills that I can install to work, for example, on TanStack Start or something like that? So people are installing these skills files and using them with AI. So they are really actually searching for this convention. And my bet currently is on TanStack Start. So TanStack is just a bunch of libraries, and it all started with TanStack query, which just facilitates getting some data in React, but it quickly grew, and then they have added another package, which is TanStack router, and this one adds all the routing that is needed in React. And then they have right now introduced Start, which bases on TanStack router. And TanStack Start is a full stack framework, so it allows you to create your whole web application by simply having one code base, and it's all JavaScript. So you have a bunch of advantages there. For example, you can share files and definitions and constraints between the front end and the back end, and you can just command click on a function to jump back and forth. So all of the advantages that you have in the other frameworks that come from having one code base. And we also have a central figure over here, which is Tanner Lindsley, which is the guy who started all of these TanStack libraries. So I really hope, and I am actually betting or thinking that TanStack Start is gonna fulfill this role in the JavaScript world. And yeah, only time will tell if this is gonna happen. What do you guys think? Please let me know in the comments if you have any other information or something that I missed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.